bouncing like I felt like Roy Rogers on it was. But for the turns and the brakes and the mountains, it was a great car. It had a lot of rubber on the ground, very good brakes, and a good torquey engine. And again, we won the Bob Bondurant and I won the category for was it Bob or Jerry Grant? Jerry Grant and I keep thinking of Bob, who's down there, by the way. Thanks, Bob. He just gave me a picture here of when we won the category at Le Mans in the purple. So there's Bob with a big smile on his face. Yes. So anyway, the cover was good for that event, in my opinion.
I think the one thing you regret is that you didn't do any long-distance sports car racing, right? And then other cars here in America. And then suddenly, I think maybe Phil, we all regret terribly that Phil's not here this weekend. Then I think Phil helped you get to Europe. Was that part of it? Or did you go over with him? He was there already, I think. How did that all come about, and what was it like to meet Mr. Ferrari the first time? Because we've all heard about Brian Redman's story of meeting Mr. Ferrari the first time, which I'll do in a minute. But how was it when you met him?
Oh, there are an awful lot of questions. I don't know which one. Anyway, Phil was a tremendous help. He and at the time Denise McCluggage met me at the airport and helped me through some of the early getting together with. Actually, I was invited to Europe in '58 by Luigi Canetti, who was the U.S. importer for Ferrari, and that was the big breakthrough. And we drove at Le Mans, and but Phil was quite willing to help out all during those times. And when you're over there and you don't really speak the language and everything seems to be a whole lot different than the USA, why it was an enormous help. Now, what was the next question? The first time when it looked like we were doing pretty well, and Ferrari had like a farm system that they were watching how people performed when they drove Ferraris, and especially in the USA. And Ferrari realized, and Luigi was sending him reports on things, and it looked like maybe this guy Dan Gurney was going to be a promising prospect, and Luigi arranged for a test for me to go to Europe and see if I could be put on the Ferrari factory racing team. So once I got there, which was a big process, I finally went to the Modena Autodrome, which is a 1.1 mile sort of rectangular circuit, sort of. And in other words, it was pretty short and very difficult to hide if you were not being able to race very well. And I did a test there, and on the morning that I was supposed to do the test, I was the only driver in the whole place, the Modena Autodromo, and 3 cars pulled up, 3 of these black, great big Fiats, and a transporter with an open transporter with 3 cars, a 2-liter sports car, a 3-liter Le Mans type V12 sports car, and a Formula One Grand Prix car. And here I was, the only driver. And among those, in the 3 black Fiats was Enzo Ferrari himself, and the team manager, and a lot of other of his lieutenants. And of course, I had to get in each car, and they timed every lap, and at the end, they didn't say anything. So I was, I really had a big question mark. Actually, I knew I had been about maybe a long way off of the lap record, which I believe was held by Jean Barra, the great French Formula One Grand Prix driver, ex-motorcyclist. And I was about 3 seconds off of his time. But next they said, well, would you go to Monza? We're going to do a test there. I did that, and pretty soon they offered me a contract, a old-fashioned contract, we'll call it, in quotes, old-fashioned, quote, unquote. I signed up for $163 a month, one round-trip ticket, and half of the appearance money, which no one knew how much money that was. But I was on the Ferrari team, and those were terrific days.
That's when you had